we're making progress on the lean-to project. So at this point, we had a couple days of rain and just poor weather. So now it's a beautiful day, and we're setting all the rafters. And this side, the rafters are 17 foot, and there's about a 16-foot span. So what we did is we already had a ledger board up against the house. We had the posts with the beam on this side, and we put all of these rafters on the forks of my tractor, lifted them up, and we started with this one first so that we could just back out and work our way that way. And we didn't know exactly what the angle was for the pitch, so because we're actually attaching to the ledger board, not on top of it, we needed to actually cut the back, make the back cut with the proper angle, or it wouldn't really seat flush up against the ledger board. So what we did is we just held the piece up there, drew a line, cut the line, and then put it back up, and to see if it was correct or not, we had to make a few minor adjustments. But then once we had the proper angle, we used that rafter with the right length and just used it as a template and laid it on top of all the other rafters and just drew our lines and cut everything off. It worked out really nice. And so now we're on this side, which is a little bit different side. These are going to be 12-foot rafters, and instead of tying into the ledger board, we're actually going to set these on top of the ledger board. And so we just came underneath this particular rafter and made that level across there, and then butted that piece and made it level across there, cut off the end. And so now we know that that's at the proper height. So even if you don't know how to calculate your angles or the slope of your roof, if you know what the back end is and the front end is, then all we did on this part right here is we didn't put these boards up, this ledger board, until we had done this rafter. So then we knew where the rest of them need to be. So, and just remember, as you're attaching your rafters across your your rafter seal, that seal beam, you want to make sure that your posts are plumb as you're going along, because once you get going, you can't really adjust whether they're plumb or not because they're set. Their place is set. So we'll make sure when we get to the end of this, or actually before we get going that way, that final post is plumb before we start setting the rafters. Or you can actually even tack a rafter somewhere, say like in the middle, and then one on the end, and then that sets it in place, and then you can just fill in the ones in the middle. And then also on this area, because the span is a little bit longer with these 16-foot rafters, we're going to come in with this little piece in the middle, and you just measure the distance between each one of those and then nail them in, and then that keeps these rafters true to each other instead of warping and twisting. And then that way they're true whenever you go to put your furring strips on. And when you put your furring strips on, you want to make sure, especially if you've got 2-foot centers and you got 8-foot furring strip boards, you don't want it twisting and warping real bad, because then your furring strips won't come out accurately. So once we get done with this, then we'll put the furring strips on and show you what that looks like.